I'm just going to briefly introduce what the New England Dairy Business Innovation Center is and sort of what types of technical outreach we're going to be offering. So the Dairy Business Innovation Center is going to provide support to dairy businesses through projects that promote the development, production, marketing, and distribution of dairy products. So the Dairy Business Innovation Center in New England is hosted by the Vermont Agency of Agriculture. UVM Extension has the technical assistance piece of this grant, so providing direct outreach to dairy and small ruminant farmers in Vermont. And the focus is on delivering a technical assistance to farms, which will target specific areas of dairy management. And in a subsequent slide, we're going to get into a little bit more of what that technical assistance looks like. So the goal is to make improvements to business operations and improve overall profitability of the business. So what is dairy management technical assistance? So it's on-farm assistance designed to address specific management needs. So another way to look at it is sort of anything inside the barn dealing with your cows, goats, sheep that you need assistance with. Our goal is to provide outreach education, so providing you with the tools and assistance that you need to either make a management change or just to gather some more information about maybe another idea for your business that you're interested in. The goal is to follow through with implementation of the recommendations, so to help you implement those goals and recommendations that we've talked about on the farm to improve the bottom line of the farm. So who qualifies for technical assistance through the DBIC grant? All dairy farms in Vermont are eligible for technical assistance. So that includes cow dairies, goat and sheep dairies. And I've listed the link which you can go to directly apply to the program. There's a really brief intake form, and that will send out an email to either Tony, myself, and Kelsey, and one of us will be back in touch with you. So some of the topics that are covered by technical assistance, records analysis. We can dig into your records and sort of see what presents itself as opportunities, or if you know that you have a specific issue, we can look into the records to try to figure out where it started. Has progress been made? It's a great way to track when you've made a management change. Are things getting better? Are they getting worse? Facilities design. So if you're interested in building a new facility, retrofitting an old facility, all types of facility design is covered by this. Cow comfort, so anything inside the barn you're looking to do to improve things for cow or goat and sheep comfort. So if you're looking at redesigning stalls, bedding, improving cow flow, all of those types of things are covered as well. Grazing and pasture management, Kelsey will get into a little bit more of this on her slide. Milk quality, so somatic cell count, all types of milk quality issues that you might have on the farm. And personnel management is always another topic on farms that we see a lot. So the process works by the farmer applying through the DBIC contact form or contacting either Tony, myself, or Kelsey directly, or perhaps being referred by somebody else with an extension or one of our partners. So the three of us will take the info in, we'll decide who is best suited to work with that farm. We'll reach out to you, decide if we need to make a farm visit, if it's something we can address over the phone. There is a slightly more detailed intake form that we'll go over when we get in touch with you. Then, we'll come out to the farm, we'll assess what the problem is, provide support to you, provide feedback, and we'll follow up with you. So sometimes it's a really short, just you have one specific thing you're working on, we help you, we close that case. Other times it's more of a long haul process. So you might be looking to build a new barn, you might be looking to just set up a management team. So it doesn't have to just be a one and done situation. There can be all sorts of different ways that this looks. We can go through this process multiple times even. So that's all that I have for now. I've listed the link again. And if you have any questions, we'll have a brief time for Q&A at the end of this. So I'm going to hand it over to Kelsey.
Great, thanks, Whitney. Yeah, so that was a great overall picture of DBIC and how that works, how intake would work, an overview of what technical assistance is. I wanted to introduce myself and give some of my background and then some of the specific technical assistance that I would be providing in my scope of the DBIC. So my background is in small scale cow dairies, pasture-based farmstead creameries, mostly in the Adirondacks, so like this farm here in New York. I have experience with processing as well. I've had a butter business, so I'm familiar with the complexities that come with on-farm processing and familiar with raw milk sales as well. So my scope is includes all small-scale dairies, cow, goat, and sheep. I offer grazing planning, whether you want to improve your grazing system or are new to grazing and want to set up an initial grazing plan. You can look at how to do that. Part of that grazing planning can include finding funding for the infrastructure required. So that would be fencing, laneways, water lines, barnyard improvements. There are lots of resources available in Vermont through both NRCS and the Agency of Ag for setting up those grazing systems. Similarly, there are a lot of programs here that can provide payments for rotational grazing or for excluding livestock from waterways, and maybe you're already grazing and not getting that payment for it. Yeah, it can help you enroll with FAP, pays for rotational grazing per acre, and the CREP program. Both Agency of Ag programs will pay basically rental payments on land that you exclude waterways, excluding animals from waterways. And then overall, other support with herd health, milk quality, farmstead processing, like I said, and raw milk sales is my background and area of experience. And I think I see technical assistance as being about kind of assembling the best team of people that can help a particular farmer. So if there's a sheep specific question, for example, that I might not know the answer to, I can call on other experts that are here at UVM or even beyond UVM. Amber Reed, for example, is our another grazing outreach specialist, and she's got a lot of sheep experience. So being able to collaborate and use those connections to provide the best team of resources for any dairy farmer seeking technical assistance is my goal. All right, I guess I'll pass it to you, Zac.
Okay. So yes, yep, I represent, well, Tony and I work together on our clean water initiative. Just a little background is, I'm going to go over this just a little bit. I mean, many of you might have heard about this, many of you haven't heard about this, so I'll just explain a little bit about the program. But what the CWIP program does is it funds, tracks, and reports on priority projects to restore Vermont's waters. This is a multi-agency collaboration throughout the state, and it really focuses on the required agricultural practices, the RAPs that the state has established. So next slide. I'll go over a little bit of the process in a minute, but some examples for why someone would reach out to us or for why a farm would want to have a water quality improvement is to establish a nutrient management plan. Many certified small farm operations, medium farm operations, and large farm operations have to have a nutrient management plan. So what we do is we work on getting them scheduled and sourcing perhaps even support for that nutrient management plan. Other examples are soil sampling, runoff and collection systems management for surface or groundwater, soil health, erosion control requirements. I can tell you that lately, this past year or so, we've had a lot of inquiries over soil health and erosion control. That's been a major hot topic, I would say. And another always hot topic is manure and nutrient storage and application, buffer zones, livestock exclusion, and farm structures. So what we do through Extension, we're able to work with owners to assess and plan for business changes in relation to water quality improvements. We offer one-on-one sessions. We can do it online, by phone, and also we can visit a farm. We really do like to visit a farm. In the case that we're interested in collaborating, it just gives us the possibility to get to know the farm and also the issues that could be present on the farm or in the future that we're just trying to mitigate. So yeah, we'll go out and we will evaluate the feasibility and the impacts of the changes that face the farm and the business. And when it's necessary, some situations are necessary that we need to bring in a form of specialist to come in and support the change on the farm. And we make sure that we source the appropriate specialists. Another point that I want to elaborate on is that our one-on-one sessions, and whenever you are working with us on the AgBiz team, these are strictly confidential meetings. We are non-regulatory, and yes, so everything is kept between us as we plan around the changes for the improvements on the farm. So a little bit of the process, it's pretty similar to working with GBIC. In the beginning, it's either a farm or someone on behalf of the farm contacts us through our contact form or through a phone call or email. And then what our team does is we review it, we make sure that everything makes sense to us. And then we will come out, or we will contact the farm first. We'll give you a phone call or an email just to make an introduction, get some clarity on things. And then we try to schedule a visit. In most scenarios, like I mentioned, we like to get our eyes on everything, so we're making sure that we're appropriately addressing everything. After that, we get into the details. We want to understand, now that we understand the need for the improvement on the farm, we dive in and do like a pretty in-depth assessment of who's involved, who's going to be involved with this process. We look at all the stakeholders that are involved. Sometimes it's very simple. Sometimes it's pretty complicated. So we like to get an understanding of everything that's going to be happening on the farm. And then we start looking at funding sources for these projects. We also look at the financial planning around this project. We understand that several different grants and funding sources have different requirements, some of which are funding, like, there are matches that you have to do for certain grants. And so we want to make sure that the farm is in full understanding of the financial implications and needs for entering an application to a grant. Sometimes that's very, very quick, and sometimes that takes some very in-depth analysis of the cash flows on the farm. So it might take a while, but once we get to a point where we understand everything and the grants are being submitted by the farmer, we like to follow up with the farmer to make sure that we're providing everything that we can. And as many of you can understand, that a water quality improvement on a farm isn't just a a quick process. There are many players involved, and we want to make sure we're there to support everybody. There are a variety of programs out there, and we understand that sometimes there are so many different programs out there that it gets a little overwhelming. So feel free to reach out to us directly so we can make sure that we're hooking you up with the appropriate programs for your needs. The last thing that we want is for someone to get overwhelmed and not make a decision at all, or feel that perhaps an assistant program isn't applicable to them. So we want to make sure that we're providing this assistance and making sure you have clarity on the issue on the farm. Some assistance programs are NRCS has a program, their EQIP program. They also have financial technical assistance. The Agency of Ag has their best management practice program. There's also the capital assistance program, farm agronomic practices program, grass, waterway, and filter strips programs, and then also, and most recently, VHCB has water quality improvement grants that they have right now. So feel free to contact me directly. We will be, for all the information in this webinar, we will be sending out links to you, not only to this video, but also the links that we presented today. So don't feel the need to write all of this down. We'll send a follow-up email with all this information. And yeah, that's our presentation. We've set aside some time right now for you to ask us any questions that you may have regarding our programs that we just presented.
So if anybody does have a question, they can sort of raise their hand and Whitney will call on them sort of one at a time. But I want to just kind of do a little bit of follow-up with conversation thus far. You know, both of the grants that we have that allow us to put on these programs also have a lot of grant money. And I think Zac was pretty good. He had the links up there about, and just with the CWIP program, a variety of grants that are out there that farmers can access. So, you know, I think one of the things that might be a misconception, and we want to make sure that everybody understands it, we're not professional grant writers in this instance. What we do is we assist the farms in gathering all the information and running through all the steps needed for them to fill out a successful grant application. And that's usually the way the grantors want it. They don't really want me writing all the grants, or Zac writing all the grants, or Whitney writing all the grants. And that's really not what we do best. You know, what we do best is show people what their capabilities are. And, you know, when I think of the link between CWIP and AgBiz and farm viability and DBIC, you know, one grant can lead to the use of another grant to solve a different concern that a farmer might have. And, you know, just to say that occasionally when I get into some of these projects, especially the larger infrastructure projects on the CWIP side of things, we often find that we wind up doing some other sort of estate planning, transition planning, or even maybe exit planning if the project is too big and too expensive, or doesn't make sense for the farm about where they think they're headed down the road. So if you're working with farmers and considering what they should do, it's probably worth them giving us a call, because we have not only specifics that we can offer for each grant, but we also have a variety of other places where we can place people and give them assistance. And Zac, I don't know, maybe you can give an example of something like that, where that might have happened in general terms.
Yeah, I think what the major thing that you pointed out is every farm is unique and has like this isn't like kind of like a blanket water quality improvement program. Everybody has very unique situations on the farm, even from like, you know, some type of runoff question. I mean, there's so many different specifics. I would actually just say that, you know, my response to that would be like, it's really important just to feel free to reach out to us initially. Like I mentioned, we're non-regulatory. Our services, our advising services are free. So it really just doesn't hurt to just say, hey, Zach, I have this question. I was wondering if something, you know, this is applicable to me or not, or our farm or not. I think that's the most important thing to get out of that is.
Yeah, and the highlight there isn't, you know, it isn't that it is that we're non-regulatory, but it's also that it's really not the role of the regulator. The regulator is there to deal strictly with the water quality issue in this instance that the farm has, and they're looking for resolution. It's the action to do that, which might open up a can of worms on the farm side of things. That really does need sorting out, that a regulator might not necessarily be equipped to do, or doesn't really find it within their domain to do. And this is what I think a quality referral means to someone who doesn't have the expertise to cover through, like say Zach, myself, Whitney does, but knows that they can refer a farm to us for these things. So Whitney,
and Tony, and outside of the CWIP program, our team is very familiar with other programs that are out there that can be available as a result of our first, of our initial meetings with the farmer. There are, like Tony mentioned, there are many other programs that can be brought in for the farm to assist the farm, not just on that water quality improvement. Perhaps there's more to that, and we have many available programs throughout the state that allow us to us or other service providers to advise the farm on.
Great, thanks, Zach. And Whitney, I just wonder maybe, and Kelsey too, if you could talk about, you know, in general terms, some of your first experiences with using DBIC to do some work with the farms that we're charged to work with.
Sure. Yeah. I've had one farm that I've worked with 2 separate times already. The first instance was they were interested in looking at building a parlor onto their existing facility and expanding their current barn. And then we put them in touch. We referred them to an agricultural engineer, and then they reached back out to develop a dairy management team on the farm. So I think that's a really great use of the DBIC and technical assistance, is, you know, to sort of gather all the key players on the farm together and talk about how we can make improvements, and everybody works together. That's really a great use of being able to collaborate with other people on the farm.
So in that context, you know, it sounds like you were able to make a connection. It's not necessarily a one-off thing, but as we begin to work with that farm, we find good avenues to provide them with links throughout all the service providers that help farms, and not only in a one-shot deal, but on an ongoing basis through the use of the management team to not only see the initial project through, but to see what else the farm would like to work on. Kelsey, have you had any experiences that you want to talk about?
Yeah, just yesterday I think was a great example of kind of building up a team to help a farm with a set of issues. I went back for a second farm visit to a raw milk dairy in the Northeast Kingdom. And they had a whole suite of projects that they were interested in: a milk house effluent system, dealing with a runoff from the barn roof, possibly building a bedded pack, and looking for some money for perimeter fencing. And so we had an engineer from the state, we had a representative from NRCS in their district, and then we had the director of the county conservation district where they were located all come visit and kind of talk about which grants would be the best for them to pursue or not pursue for the given projects, and what they might want to prioritize given funding options and the timeline of different things. Yeah, so I think we built an effective team there, and they're going to be able to carry on with pursuing some of those projects.
Great, that's good. We're on the front end of this particular project where we do a lot of structural building of the project and decide how we want to deliver that programming. And as farms come in, you know, we're looking for I think a more active winter and spring coming forward. So Whitney, do we have a slide that shows how to get in touch with us all? You got
Sure.
something there that we want to put up?
Yeah, I will pull it up.
Okay. And if anybody in the audience participants has any questions, now's a great time to pop your hand up and just take a look at our last slide and see how to get in touch with us, the Center for Sustainable Agriculture, and our particular project. Any questions from the audience? Okay, here's a question from Emily Finnegan. I have to run, thanks. Good seeing you, Emily. I'm really glad you showed up, and hopefully we'll be able to work a little bit going forward.
Emily was the conservation district director that came to the farm yesterday.
Okay, good, good. So our contact information is on that website as individuals, and if you have any questions that popped up while the seminar was going on but didn't get a chance to ask them, feel free to contact any of us about what your question is. And on that note, if we don't have anything left to talk about, I think we're good right now. And please consider joining us again. We're going to take a deeper dive into both DBIC work and CWIP work on our next meeting in January 16th, I believe. So
January 19th, yeah. And we'll send out reminders. Yeah.
there you go. Thank you, Zach. That's why you never have me do these things. We'll send out a reminder and tell everybody that you work with about what this is about. Again, we're going to have some more in-depth conversations about some specifics that we've run into and how we think you as service providers or farmers who are engaged in this can take that information back to your farm business and give us a call and see how we can help. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I want to thank Whitney, Kelsey, and Zach for talking about our programming. And that's it from Agricultural Business. We're signing off, folks. Have a good day.